Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be making some fantasy character prompts. These could feature anything from warlocks to paladins, all the way to vampires and kitsune. We will also throw in some random words such as glass, bones, or flowers, just to add a little bit of extra inspiration into these. But why wait? Let's see what we roll. Okay, so we're starting off simple originally. We're going to go with a human wizard with tan skin, curly hair. Then we've got some dark academia as our aesthetic, which is awesome, and an assassin. So we got some things to play with there, but pretty simple. This is my favorite one of the bunch though. We have a nymph warlock. She's got short hair, glow candlelight, which is absolutely perfect, and mystic. So we're going to do some absolutely fun things. I can't wait to show you guys. Our third one was going to be a changeling rogue with a mask. She's going to have bangs for her hairstyle. She's going to have a rapier for the weapon. And it's going to include madness and misdirect, which I think perfectly sums up this character. I feel like it's not what you're going to expect, but I feel like it's a cute one. I like it. Finally, we have an orc paladin with a trinket. Her hairstyle is going to have some buns included. We've got a battle axe, gold, and oracle, which is really awesome. So let's get into the actual design process, shall we? So starting with our human wizard, I really wanted to follow that dark academia theme pretty strongly. I decided to go with a button-up blouse and a long robe for the top area. I did play around with the idea of a skirt, but ideally I was just like, no, I kind of want to get a bit more of that assassin vibe. I decided to implement that by focusing more on looking like a student or an academic over looking like a wizard. That way it comes as a bit of a surprise, she could kind of hide her true intentions. And I thought that was really cool. It's much more on the simple side of a design, but I think, for our first character, it was a nice start. So we'll get on to the rest. Now onto my favorite from this bunch. This is our nymph warlock. I really had so much fun with this one. I spent so much time on it. I really wanted to go with that candlelight glow aesthetic for the nymph. And I thought we could do this by incorporating the candles as a way of her communicating with the warlock. Maybe that is where she casts her powers from. So maybe they're not inadvertently in her, but instead she makes like a prayer or something to a warlock patron, and that is how she gets her powers, which I thought was really cool. For the dress design, I wanted to keep it something a bit more simple but elegant, so I went with something flowing and decided to do a long slit up the side, which I thought was nice. For her, where she's going to keep her candles, of course, there's the ones on the hat, but I also wanted to give her a belt. That way she could have access to that magic and those abilities. The shoulder sleeves were fun to draw, but a little bit of a nightmare. I had a really particular idea in mind. Wasn't quite working, but I think I got something in the end that I liked. So overall, it was super fun. And the coloring works really well on this one too at the end. But we will move on in just a moment. Up next is our changeling rogue. This one is, like I said, it's not going to be exactly what you expect. So one of the things is rogues are always tend to be in completely black gear, usually leather, dark, mysterious, and moody. I wanted to go a completely different direction. So I wanted to keep this, a bit more streamlined. You wouldn't want her, having all these robes and stuff. It's not very good for sneaking. But instead, I wanted to go with something a bit more light, a little bit more simple, but avoiding a lot of that leather. So she does have like a leather corset on, but she's got these long, gentle, flowing sleeves, which I think are really nice. I didn't go too far into the madness direction. It kind of gave me a little bit of like a Jinx vibes with the bright pastel colors, which are going to happen. But also, I just thought I wanted to focus on that bit more misdirect prompt there. So for that, I've decided to go with pastels and stuff. Now, I think the point of this one is that she is a changeling, and so I just have this theory that she can change how she looks at any point. So she doesn't have to be super sneaky, and instead she'll just be able to change her appearance and go undetected that way, which I think is really cool. And onto our Orc Paladin. So this one I was a little bit torn in what I wanted to do. I wanted to go with the classic armor vibes. However, I'm not very good at drawing armor, which is something I need to work on, but I had a little bit of an idea when I was drawing the shoulder armors, and I was thinking it kind of looked like those big puffy dresses. Now, the rest of these characters tend to be going for a more elegant, feminine vibe, so I figured why not go all in, and so I decided instead of shoulder pads, let's do these big puffy sleeves. They'll still give that silhouette of a shoulder pad, but it's going to be looking a lot more elegant. I decided some big draping sleeves, and the leg gear is, I don't know how I came up with it, but God, is it cool. So it's going to be these little like flowery tendrils that are going up from the feet all the way up to her hips. They're so cool. They're a little bit of a pain in the ass to draw, but they were really fun, so I actually didn't mind too much. The last thing about the outfit being a little bit more feminine, we ended up rolling the buns, and I decided to do space buns, and I feel like that may have looked a little bit weird if we had gone with something a little bit more armor heavy, a little bit more bulky in appearance for the armor. So in this way, it's kind of coming a bit more regal, a little bit more elegant, which I think is pretty cool. So we are going to be moving on to the line art now. There are not too many changes that need to happen in this part, so I'm just going to leave you guys to sit back and enjoy the process. And welcome back. So we're moving on to the color portion now. Now, ignore the color format at the moment. It was just a placeholder. But we're going back to our human warlock and, human wizard. For her I just wanted to keep with the simple blacks, greys, a little bit of white. I wanted to keep her hair a little bit exciting, so I decided to do a deep red, and I also added that to the inside of her skirt just to add a little bit of dimension there, as it was looking a little bit flat. I think this turned out really cool. I just added some shading around her fringe area just to add a little bit more focus on her face. But it's, like I said, it's a simple design. It's not too crazy, and instead allows for character development to happen through the character themselves rather than their outfit. So she could be a surprise character if she was introduced to a story where, you know, you didn't know her role in it. You would just maybe think she's a pretty scholar, and then oops, now you're dead. And I think that is perfect. So that is the whole point of an assassin at the end of the day. So I'm pretty happy with this one as it is. Moving on to our second character design, I was kind of torn between the dress. I wanted to go for a more milky white, milky silvery sort of dress tone, but I very quickly realized that wasn't going to work with some of the ideas I had planned. So instead I decided to darken it up and go with some more contrast between the dress itself and the candles, which I think is probably a good choice in this case. For the shoes, I just wanted to keep them simple. I didn't want to take away from too much of the other stuff. But as you guys can tell, I love the color inserts, and I just need every excuse to do those. So once again, I decided to make the inside a little bit lighter than the outside of the dress, so it kind of glows from within, and I've done a transition from blue to like a warm yellowy color, kind of like candlelight, which I think is cool. And another thing with this is we should make that glow. We should make that glow. I didn't make it glow, but I would love to see whoever buys this character make the inside of the dress kind of shine a little bit, which would be really great. It would be awesome. And moving on to our third character design. So this is the Rogue once again. I really want to keep this pastels light. I swear I rolled pastels as this. Maybe I forgot to write it down. I can't remember. But I decided to go for pastel yellow. It seems like such a happy color that you wouldn't really expect a rogue to be wearing it, which just falls straight back into that misdirect once again. Just want to keep her design a little bit more simple. She kind of is giving me a what is it, like one of those fighter lances or something like that. She's giving me that vibe, but I actually like it, so I don't really mind. So I was struggling for a really long time to try and find a nice shady yellow that I liked, and I quickly realized it was actually clashing with the skin tone I had at the time. So I ended up having to darken that skin tone up, desaturate a little bit, and I think it works a lot better now. Now we've got our paladin. This one, again, was a huge struggle. So I wanted to go for that gold aesthetic for the armor, but halfway through, I realized if she was going to be an orc, she would probably need green skin. And as soon as I gave her green skin, I ran into this issue of the color between her skin and the gold armor clashing, and it was looking really bad. So I ended up having to desaturate the gold to make it more harmonious between her olive-based skin and the gold colors. So I got it there in the end, don't worry. But there is a little bit where it's going to start looking quite funky. And I wasn't sure which color for the skin to be quite right, but I think I found something I'm happy with. The color placement for the armor was such an ordeal as well. I wasn't sure where I wanted the dark parts and where I wanted the light parts, so I just had to keep going between them, finding different shades. I find something I was finally happy with, but there was so much back and forth that I had to go through, and I also went and desaturated just to make sure those contrasts were happening as well, which was good. And here is the final product. Please let me know what you think. I'm really happy with how they turned out. I will be selling these ones on DeviantArt. They're pretty cheap, they're nothing crazy, but go check them out on there and give them a like if you would. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Bye bye.